Haruki stood on the platform of a small train station near Mount Fuji. His eyes were tired, and his soul shattered. Just 2 years ago, he lost his family in a horrific car accident. His wife and daughter, who meant everything to him, suddenly gone, leaving behind a black void that never calmed. Haruki was living like a body without a soul. No friends, no life. Every day was just a dull repetition of sadness and despair. One day, while aimlessly browsing the internet, he stumbled upon a story about Aokigahara Forest, the infamous suicide forest in Japan, where it is said souls disappear and torment begins. He couldn't resist the idea of entering that forest, that place called the Suicide Forest. He decided it would be the place to leave all his pain behind and disappear forever. At dawn, he packed a small bag with some water, simple food, and a rope. He boarded the train heading to Fuji City, and after a short trip, he arrived at the forest's edge. The forest awaited him, silent and gloomy. The trees were towering and tightly packed, their shadows curling around him like ghosts. No bird calls, no breeze caressing his face. Only complete silence, as if the forest was holding its breath. He took the first step inside, then another, each step deeper into an endless darkness. The ground beneath his feet was hard and covered with a thick layer of dry leaves, and the scent of damp earth filled his nose. The deeper he walked, the more colored ribbons tied to trees he saw. On some, shaky handwritten warnings read, "Don't go deeper, death is watching." But Haruki did not turn back. The pain he carried was greater than any fear. At nightfall, he pitched his small tent beside a massive tree with strange bark. The bark was twisted, resembling a human face carved in it, wearing a grim expression. He began to hear strange sounds, faint whispers, names softly calling him, muffled screams. He heard a woman's voice say, "Haruki, why did you leave us?" He closed his eyes tightly, trying to scream, but his voice was stuck in his throat. Darkness surrounded him from every side, and he could no longer distinguish reality from hallucination. He saw the shadow of a woman wearing a white kimono, her eyes black and shiny, fading in and out among the trees. The trees themselves seemed to move, closing in on him in a tight circle. Trembling, he tried to run but felt the ground beneath his feet changing. He felt like he was trapped in an endless loop. Every path he took brought him back to the same tree. He tried to use his map, but it no longer made sense. It had turned into strange symbols and ancient Japanese words saying, "Death does not welcome those who run away." The closer he got to escaping, the louder the voices became, mad screams, screams of former victims. On a pitch-black night, thick fog covered the ground. He heard a woman's scream fill the air. Cautiously, he approached and found a decomposed man's corpse near a narrow path. Next to the body was an old torn notebook. With trembling hands, he opened it and read words written in shaky handwriting. "They ate my mind. I will no longer hear the silence. Silence is their moan." Haruki's mind began to shatter. He could no longer tell reality from illusion. Faces appeared among the trees, and voices whispered his name. On the 7th morning, rescue teams found his tent abandoned. The rope was neatly laid out, his bag untouched. On a nearby tree trunk, someone had written a mysterious phrase in charcoal. "I did not die. I only became part of the forest." To this day, guards say they see a man in a gray suit carrying a picture of his family, appearing between the trees on foggy nights, then vanishing into thin air. The forest is not just a place. It is a living being, feeding on pain, regret, and weakness. It is not just a place for death, but for endless torment. Do you dare to visit it? Do you dare face its restless spirits? But, is the story really over? Weeks after Haruki's disappearance, a small camera was discovered, partially buried beneath a twisted tree root, deep within the forest. The camera was corroded, damaged by moisture, yet somehow, the battery was still charged. When the footage was recovered, it showed nothing at first, just shaky, dark clips, the sound of footsteps, and heavy breathing. But then, a frame, Haruki's face, staring into the lens, smiling. A cold, unnatural smile, as if it wasn't really him anymore. And just before the video cut to black, a whisper could be heard. Faint. Almost too soft to catch. But it was there. I'm here. Not alone. Then, silence. No wind. No movement. The screen froze. The camera died. So who whispered? Is Haruki still alive? Or rather, is he still human? Has the forest consumed him? Or has he become part of something much older, much darker? Perhaps the forest doesn't just claim lives. Perhaps it keeps them. And maybe, just maybe, this video isn't the end of the story. It's only the beginning. In the summer of 1993, the Harkins family moved to the small town of Edgemoor, Maine. The family, George, Linda, and their teenage daughter Kathy, had purchased a charming old home built in the late 1800s. It was spacious, surrounded by dense woods, and came at a surprisingly low price. Everything seemed perfect, until day 3. While cleaning the kitchen, Linda noticed a worn-out rug in the corner. Beneath it, she found a small trapdoor, not mentioned in any of the real estate documents. Curious, they opened it, revealing a narrow staircase descending into a cold, hidden basement. The basement was empty, but unnaturally cold. The stone walls were covered in a strange black ash, and the air was thick and dry. But what truly disturbed them was a message carved deep into the far wall. Don't let it out. The next few nights, Kathy complained of hearing footsteps coming from beneath the floorboards. She told her parents, "It's like someone's walking in the basement every night." George brushed it off as an overactive imagination. But on the 5th night, at exactly 3:14 a.m., he woke up to the sound of the basement door creaking open. Slowly, as if someone, or something, was coming up. He rushed to check. The door was wide open, and inside, only a darkness that swallowed light. The entire family began experiencing vivid nightmares. Kathy dreamed of something sitting at the edge of her bed. Linda heard soft moaning beneath the floors. And George, he began seeing shadows moving behind him in mirrors. Then came the smell. A foul, animal-like rot, seeping up from the basement. Yet every time they checked, the basement remained empty. Desperate, they contacted a spiritual expert from Boston, who immediately refused to enter. He said, "This isn't a ghost. It's something older, nameless. And it's starving." Then, one night, Kathy vanished. They searched the house frantically. Her bedroom was untouched. The front door was locked. But the basement door stood wide open. George descended, heart pounding. The air felt heavier than ever. He saw small footprints in the ash-covered floor, not leading out, but leading in. At the back wall, beneath the original warning, a new phrase had appeared, carved freshly into the stone. "One for now." After Kathy's disappearance, Linda fled the house. George, however, stayed behind, determined to bring his daughter back. He spent nights watching the basement, waiting, listening, until one night, he too disappeared. Only a note was left on the kitchen table. "It doesn't live in the basement. The basement is its body, and everyone who enters is slowly digested." To this day, the Edgemoor house still stands, abandoned, boarded up, But the basement was never sealed. Local kids say you can hear whispers if you get too close. And on some nights, they say they see a young girl staring from the second-floor window, silently watching, not blinking. No one dares to open the basement door now. But the smell still seeps through the ground. What the newspapers didn't report was that the land under the Edgemoor house was once the site of a forbidden 18th-century ritual. Records show that an entire family vanished on that very spot. No graves, no bodies. The local church sealed the case and burned the documentation. But someone reopened the basement. And whatever was buried there is no longer asleep.